Here we go, another loaded show coming your way on today's Philadelphia 76ers. Now, as the Sixers sign a G League standout, could the Sixers be interested in Klay Thompson in NBA free agency this upcoming offseason? First, I want you to type Real One 50 times if you want a shout out on the next show. Do that right now. Real One, roll call. We appreciate you. Let's talk some Sixers hoops right now. And we start off with the newest addition to this Philadelphia 76ers roster, as Daryl Morey and company have signed former Thunder forward Darius Bazley to a 10-day contract. He's been starring at the G League level, and now he's going to try his hand at the NBA level with Philadelphia. Charania with the news on Monday, that the 76ers plan to sign Darius Bazley to that 10-day contract out of their NBA G League Delaware Bluecoats, entering his fifth NBA season. Bazley coming off a 38-point, 15-rebound game and averaging 21 points per 10 rebounds per game as one of the G League's best. So to clarify here, he was playing with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sixers signed him to the Delaware Bluecoats. Plays really good at the G League level. Now Philadelphia signing him to their active roster 10-day contract to see what he can do and if he can impress Nick Nurse. His career up to this point came into the league with a little bit of pedigree with OKC, 2019-2020, 61 games played for the player development factory organization that is the Thunder. And in those 61 games in his rookie year, 5.5 points per, 4 rebounds. The issue with him, and this has kind of been the issue all throughout his career, is just the lack of field goal efficiency. He's still a very, very young player. He's only 23 years old. And the Sixers looking to see if they can get some upside. He was a first-round pick by the Utah Jazz back in the 2019 NBA draft. Year 2, Thunder still trying to work with him to see what he can become. And the numbers not bad from a points per game output. 13.7 points per game, 7+ rebounds on a bad OKC team. But once again, the field goal percentage under 40%. Year 3, almost 11 points per game. Field goal numbers go up, 42.2%. And then in 2022-2023, 43 games played. Production gets cut in half from what he did in year 3, but the field goal numbers do go up with limited action at 45.4. But then you look at what he's been able to do with Delaware. And an organization like OKC, they've been able to develop players at a really impressive rate. Philadelphia's trying to become that. And we've seen some G League stories for the Sixers, Paul Reed being one of them, and he's still kind of coming into his own. Could Bazley turn into a player who can be a back end of the rotation type of piece? With Delaware this year at the G League level, which is, of course, not even as good as maybe an international league because players go the international route instead of the G League route because of the paycheck, 20 points per game, 9 rebounds, what you like to see. Field goal percentage, 47.3%. And then the blocks. He does have some defensive ability. He came into the league so young, 19 years of age, and now maybe he's coming into his own. So a former first-round pick here, 23 years old, very versatile defender. We know that Daryl Morey likes those types of players. He's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan. So that can help you alter and block shots at the rim, get in the way of passing lanes, and just be disruptive on the defensive end of the floor. Not a reliable outside shooter, though. 30.8% from 3. He's tried to really develop that component of his game. Hasn't really developed all that much, though. So grade the signing of Darius Bazley. A, B, C, D, or F? Let us know down below in the comment section. As always, sound off with what you think. 10-day contract rules. This, of course, important information to pass along because we always want to inform you. Teams can sign a player to a maximum of 2 10-day contracts. We see this all the time, so we'll see if he sticks around long term. Coming up around the corner, could the Sixers target Klay Thompson in NBA free agency? Shams Charania with some interesting reporting on that front. First, let's get to our sponsor, though, Prize Picks, making daily fantasy sports easy, and they have the best deal that any DFS app has to offer. $100 deposit match. So you put in $100, you download the app for free, You use our link, prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS, and you get $100 back. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. You pick 2 or more players. You choose more or less on the projected stat lines. Thankfully, the All-Star weekend is over. It sucked outside of the three-point contest. All we saw in the dunk contest, vertical leaps, no creativity. But here on the back end of the NBA season, we have a couple of good picks that we want to tell you about here. You have Nikola Jokic for the season, 30-plus points and assists, more or less there. Let's go more. And then Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for the season, 40-plus point games. We'll go more than 2.5 there. And then LeBron James, double-doubles for the season. More than 9.5 games with double-doubles there. So you see how creative Prize Picks gets. And that deal with Nikola Jokic is phenomenal. Daily fantasy sports made easy. Pick 2 or more players. Choose more or less on the projected stat lines. prizepicks.com/CLNS. As for the latest on Klay Thompson here, as we look ahead to 2024 NBA free agency, Klay Thompson expected to test free agency. He's coming off the bench for the Golden State Warriors right now, and several teams could have interest. Could it be Philadelphia? Let's get to it. Shams Charania with this. This has been a stressful year for Klay Thompson. He has been going through it at different points. I think he is doing the best to get through it. He is set to enter free agency at the end of the season. I expect him to test the marketplace. I would expect both Florida teams, both LA teams. I would expect potentially a couple of East Coast teams to have interest in Klay Thompson. So obviously what we want to hone in on here for the purpose of today's 76ers now, a couple of East Coast teams. I'm like Austin Powers with the quotations right there. Could this include the Philadelphia 76ers? Remember, Philadelphia going into free agency has the most cap space among 30 NBA teams this summer. As it's currently projected, Sixers slotted to have nearly $77 million. And I've said this a couple of times. I'll say it again for those of you who have missed it or to just hit home on that point once again. Why Philadelphia is in such a good position here. You have Joel Embiid. You have Tyrese Maxey, who I think the Sixers are going to sign to a max contract slot this offseason. And among all of these teams on the list, Philadelphia is most equipped to chase a championship, to compete for a championship. So for a player like Klay Thompson, does he want to chase a big payday? Or does he want to go from Golden State, where he's won 4 rings, to another team, if he leaves the Warriors, that has a chance at hoisting another Larry O.B.? I'd be shocked if he goes to a team like the Magic, because he's a cutthroat competitor. He wants to add to his legacy. He wants to play primetime games in a big market on the big stage. He can't really do that with these other teams here. Team like the Magic, yeah, they've been able to make some strides this year, but they're the Orlando Magic. So a team like the Miami Heat, who Shams alluded to, 2 Florida teams. Team like Philadelphia, that could make sense. Team like the New York Knicks, that could make sense as an East Coast team. Klay's numbers this year, they're not all that bad, but some of these numbers are empty. He's really struggled, and that's why Steve Kerr has moved him to a bench role, where in his first game coming off the bench, he went nuclear. And we'll see if that can continue for Klay Thompson. Now, these numbers would certainly play for Philadelphia. Why I like the fit, not a ball-dominant player, championship pedigree, leadership. He could be a team captain on this squad, and he can really get a lot of open looks from downtown. If you can play for the Warriors, pressure-packed environment, you can thrive with a team like Philadelphia. 17 points per game this year, 42% from the floor. A lot of his field goal attempts are coming from long range. 37%. That's down from his career. You'd like him to be around 40%, but 37% is pretty damn good, and you can tell he's even admitted this. He's pressed a little bit, trying to play his way into a new deal. He gets that new contract. Maybe he stops pressing. Last 2 years, he's been healthy, coming off the Achilles and the ACL tear in consecutive seasons. Maybe he starts to put up even better numbers. Of course, the question becomes, what version of Klay are you getting? Are you getting the pre-injury Klay? Probably not. you're getting the post-injury Klay, who hasn't been the same player, still gives you solid defense, not all NBA caliber. When in the finals, he was locking down LeBron. He was locking down Kawhi Leonard, but you're still getting a solid player. And his numbers coming off the injury, 2021-2022, helps the Warriors win another NBA championship, the fourth for him, 20 points per game, 43% from the floor, 38.5% from three. Last year, though, what happens? The three-point numbers go up to 41.2%. Now, this year, they've gone down to that 2021-2022 season, but 69 games played last year, very nice, and then this year, 50 games played. That's pretty solid availability right there for Klay Thompson after missing 2019-20 with the torn ACL, which he suffered in the NBA Finals, and then the Achilles catastrophically as he was getting ready for that season in 2020-2021. Injuries have to be a concern. Why? Because the age and the injuries both combine to be a massive concern for Philadelphia. You want to invest in a player like that, you might have that cap space, but you don't want to piss that cap space away by spending it on a player like Klay Thompson, who then gets hurt, and then the production plummets. Should the Sixers sign him? S for sign, P for pass. Once again, embrace debate. Join the talk down below in the comment section. And as you venture down there, make sure you subscribe. We continue to give you informative, insightful, entertaining Sixers content here. NBA playoffs coming up around the corner. Then free agency, NBA draft. That's when we go live and we do watch parties. You don't want to miss it.